guys, welcome back to my channel, Psychic Goddess Erica. Continuing on with the Learn the Tarot series. I want to show you guys my shirt real quick because the hair is the same as me right now. My boyfriend got me this shirt. Today we are going to be looking into the Hierophant, which is card 5 in the major arcana of the tarot. Still working with the Melanated Classic Tarot. So card 4 was the Emperor in the previous video. If you haven't seen that yet or any of the other ones, go back and watch. Now we are on card 5, the Hierophant. So the number 5 is about change. The number 5 is also about lessons. Like with change, we often learn deep lessons, right? So if we're still on the Fool's journey, with the Fool representing us in life's lessons, life's growth, all of that, life's journey, coming off of the Emperor, we are now getting into this energy of learning lessons. So learning and experiencing change and learning how different changes in our lives, where they feel positive in the moment or negative in the moment, heavily impact us when it comes to spiritual growth and just life growth overall. So the number 5 carries a lot of that energy. The number 5 can also represent unity and the energy of community. So the Hierophant can often sometimes be associated with institutions of some kind, whether it's school or some other group, a collective group that has a similar belief system, such as spiritual groups, things like that. The Hierophant is also the energy of we think of them often as a spiritual teacher. So whether it is you that is taking on the energy as a spiritual teacher, or whether you are one of the people looking for guidance from a spiritual teacher. And it doesn't have to be spiritual. It often carries that vibe, but it doesn't necessarily have to be spiritual. It could be wisdom of any kind. It could be even going back to school, for example, or doing research and looking into things on your own, or just living life and learning things through life experiences. So Hierophant carries all of that energy. Sometimes it is the universe within itself that carries the energy of the Hierophant, that teaches us lessons as well. As you see, there's a lot of red, and as you guys know by now in this series, hopefully, that I read intuitively. I'm not breaking down the literal symbolism, but just in terms of intuitively reading the cards. There's a whole lot of red representing root chakra, the base chakra energy. So our sense of security, our sense of foundation, our sense of stability, whether we feel safe or not, whether we feel secure within ourselves or not, if we're battling insecurity, etc. Also, whenever I see red, sometimes it could also represent the possibility that there may be some red flags of some sort present. Red flags do not always mean it's a deal breaker necessarily, or sometimes it could be caution signs. Sometimes it could just be things that need to be looked deeper at. It's for you to decide whether or not a red flag or something to be cautious of is a deal breaker for you or not. But in summary, the Hierophant is that energy of lessons, community, unity, growth, wisdom, seeking knowledge, gaining knowledge, things like that. It on the reverse side, it could be that you are maybe wanting to take more of it could also represent this energy of traditions, following traditions, following certain rules and guidelines as well. So reversed, even though sometimes, like I've told you guys before, I don't always read reversals, you can still get similar vibes, similar messages, even if it's upright. It just depends upon the other cards around it, the feeling you're getting, the intuitive downloads, what the question was, or whatever you're receiving in a reading. But because there's no one set meaning for any card ever. It's always going to change. So depending upon the situation and the question. So whether it's reversed or whether you're just reading it in the energy of more of a quote unquote negative light, because things are just what they are. It's not always negative or positive. You know what I mean? But it could be in a more negative sense, or maybe in a reverse sense, like the blockages in terms of maybe you feel like an outsider or an outcast. Maybe you feel like you don't fit in with the normal. Maybe that's not even a negative necessarily, because I'm also somebody who's really feels like an outcast a lot of the time, or definitely doesn't fit into the rules of society norms. So I wouldn't call it negative. Maybe to some people they might see it that way, but I wouldn't call it negative. So maybe it's more of like a blockage in terms of like fitting in to society norms and certain rules and guidelines. Maybe you're a little bit more of a rebel. Maybe you take more of an unorthodox approach to things, or an unorthodox view to things. When I think of the Hierophant reversed, or even depending upon if it's upright in the other cards around it, sometimes it gives me the energy of asking the questions that need to be asked, like asking the questions, asking source, asking creator, the universe, asking the questions that need to be asked, instead of just falling into line and following the rules, like challenging things a little bit. And like I said, taking a more unorthodox approach rather than a traditional approach to things. Maybe this is the energy of someone, whether it's you or the person you're asking about, or just the energy of the reading overall, of just being completely on, having a completely like questionable view of how you view people in authority, because the Hierophant can also represent certain kinds of authority figures as well, or those that are experts in something. Just for some examples, like spiritual leaders, doctors, lawyers, professors. These are just examples. You get what I'm feeling, see what I'm saying. So sometimes if it's more of a blockage energy coming through, you may be someone, or maybe the person you're reading about is someone who just may even have a little bit of some authority issues, or just constantly questions those in authority and why they're in authority, or maybe even the rules that they're setting in place, like questioning those rules and the integrity of those rules and things like that. So that's not even necessarily positive or negative, but just kind of an energy that may come through in terms of, I'm saying it's a blockage in the sense that you don't just fall in line with the rules and just do it just because that's how it's been. It's more of that energy of questioning everything and being the rebel. So that's what I was trying to say, but it kind of got all over the place. Hopefully I'm still making sense. I keep hearing the word sanctuary also. So sometimes, whether it's upright or reversed or whatever else is coming through, sometimes the Hierophant often to me represents an energy of like wanting that feeling of sanctuary or sacred space, or seeking a place that feels like sanctuary or sacred space to you. If it has more of a negative vibe to the reading versus positive, then maybe you don't feel like you have that sacred space or sanctuary and it's something you crave. That's just an example. So, and if it has a positive feel to the reading, maybe you have that or are joining it, things like that. So I think that's all I really have for you guys as far as the Hierophant goes right now. Comment below if you have any experience with things that you've noticed with the meaning of the Hierophant, or just interesting things when it comes to a connection that you may have with the Hierophant as well. Remember to subscribe, like this video of course, and share with whoever you feel will be interested in it. And I will talk to you guys in the next video, which will be the Lovers.